Be joined by Patrick Wood today because President Trump, I believe President Trump is building the infrastructure, the architecture for Revelation chapter 18, the commercial Babylon, without even knowing it. If you have a Bible, go grab it, would you? Or bring it up on your smart device or your iPad or whatever it is you use. Revelation chapter 18, you know it well. We talk about it a lot here, and we're going to continue talking about it because we are one of the few groups that has told you consistently for years, don't give up on Babylon. Babylon means Babylon. It does not mean New York. In fact, we see in the scriptures that Babylon is actually referred to in the symbol of an eagle. Did you know that? As well as a lion. And so people say, oh, there's the eagle. It must be America. No, it is 58 miles south of Baghdad. But it doesn't just include Babel. It includes that big mass area of land. If you look at a map of what was historically Babylon, it's a big area. And of course, Babylon, Babel, Tower of Babel, Genesis 10 and 11. It's going back there, Revelation 17 and 18. But it's going to include a lot of vast area. But it also represents I believe, the headquarters of Antichrist for a Eurocentric world government. Well, when I wrote the book, The Coming Religious Reich, that means kingdom or empire for the new folks, Reich, I said, look, we're headed toward Babylon, the rebuilding of Babylon. There wasn't much to say as far as evidence. But there sure is today, as you well know, from the Al-Fal port. It's a port. They're adding more ports. It is a railroad. It is underwater tunnel. It's highways. It's amazing. And they've added to it. And it just got attacked last night by a drone. I think it was an Iranian drone hit by the Al-Fal port last night. There's video footage of it, but no damage was done. No one was hurt or injured, according to the reports we've been reading. But I'll tell you something. I started researching more today on that port and what is going on with President Trump and Syria, the leader of Syria. You know, the good-looking guy, he says. The strong, good-looking guy, the leader of Syria. And then his other buddy, Erdogan, who he also was praising last week. What is going on? Because yesterday he had the prime minister of Iraq in the Oval. And I took notice of that. And we have some video clips. Maybe, guys, I forgot to tell you to bring up maybe some video clips of President Trump talking to the leader of the prime minister of Iraq. He, by the way, also did something he doesn't normally do, something that was not scheduled. And that was he said, you know what? I think we'll all have lunch together, the delegation, the leader. So that tells you something. He hit it off with the prime minister of Iraq. And that, to me, says a lot. So if you connect the pieces here, we have President Trump being extremely friendly with the leader of Iraq. We have Iraq with the Al-Fal port. We have Iraq getting money from the United Arab Emirates and other countries for this project. We have the IMEC, India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, which could connect up with that. And you also have the desire for some alternatives for energy distribution with Turkey and Syria. Are you starting to connect the dots? Why is he saying so many nice things about the leader of Turkey? Why is he saying so many nice things about the leader of Syria? Well, folks, I think behind the scenes, the man that is known for trying to cut a lot of business deals, the art of the deal, is cutting a deal. And we are one of the few groups. We are one of the few groups talking about this. Many of them, folks, this is not a program for people that are an inch deep and a mile wide. If you want news and information for, you ever see those books? Learning computer code for dummies or learning whatever it is. And it's kind of like, here's the book on this topic, but it's for dummies. And what they're trying to say is basically, here's the simple man's version to learn about that topic. Well, if you want to go, and in my opinion, Fox News, that's the news and information outlet for dummies. So you can go and watch Fox News and you can listen and pretty much it seems to me, in my opinion, almost every sexual story, every torrid story that they can find, they're going to run it. It's like tabloid, right? And they sure love the murder trials and the rape trials, and you go through, and you're like, I don't want to. That senator up, was it in Maine? They talked about him nonstop. I don't even know his name. What was his name? Planter or something? Platner? When did you ever hear me talk about him on this broadcast or my show at night? I don't think I've ever said his name till right now, have I? Maybe I mentioned it the other night on my newscast, but I deliberately avoided talking about that guy. You know why? Because it doesn't matter in the big picture. I knew what they were doing running that guy, and I'm not really going to talk about it. And I certainly wasn't interested in spending hours and hours talking about how debased he is and what he stands for, because it just wasn't. I felt like we were being gaslit, and I'm like, I'm not sure this really matters to my audience yet. When we get to a level where it matters, I'll let you know. Well, we didn't waste a lot of time talking about it, but do you know how many hours and hours and hours as the TV would be on, I'd walk through the room, Fox is talking about that? So many things, folks, there's feeding to you that is for the bread and circuses, I believe. It's not important. And that's why you're not going to see a lot of people talk about what we're going to talk about, because they don't have the biblical, eschatological worldview to understand it. And many of them are not students of the Bible or history. They're not approved workmen who are rightly dividing the word of God and seeking to understand the times through the lens of the Bible. Most people are keeping it an inch deep and a mile wide for the biggest audience. I don't want the biggest audience. If I have the biggest audience, then my programming has gone to the dogs. No offense here, Dolly. If I have a big, humongous audience, then I am not programming at a level of highness enough. Because we're like the Marines, the few, the proud, the listeners of our program. This is deliberately programming for thinking people. And I'm sorry, most Americans are not thinkers anymore. So this is a very important program for the thinkers, because the Lord told us to watch the signs of the time, to understand what's coming. And it's in the Bible. And there's a special blessing for those who understand the book of Revelation. Well, if it's not important, why is there a special blessing that even goes with it? Because it is important. And I'm going to tell you tonight or today that I believe what we're seeing is President Trump setting forth some of the architecture for the Middle East, for world government, for a revived Babylon, a commercial Babylon, and he doesn't even know it. Joining me now is Patrick Wood. Patrick, welcome to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Welcome. Thank you very much. This is an interesting topic for sure.
Is it not? Is it not? Is it not?
Yeah.
Well, let's go to this article. This is a brand new article, July 7th, 2026. Iraq prepares to construct additional piers at Al Fall Grand Port. Now, this, again, for those of the new people, is a huge port system that's being built for the last few years. And there's a lot of money. Billions have been spent. And now they're going to add additional piers, okay? And we're told that when this is finally done, Patrick, this is going to, well, put it at a capacity that surpasses Dubai's 67 berth Jebel Ali as the Middle East's biggest container port. It's going to surpass Dubai. But yet most people in America, if you were to ask them, hey, is Babylon being rebuilt? They would have no clue what you're talking about. But it is, and it fits right in with the Bible. Speak to this first of many articles we have today.
Wow. Well, we can see the trade. The trade is emanating out of India. Mumbai is the first point of origin for all this trade. They don't care which corridor is selected. But the most obvious corridor to me is going through the Strait of Hormuz, through the Persian Gulf, straight up to, by ship, straight up to the Grand Fa port, where they're building railroads and corridors and driving trucks as well, straight into Turkey, and then on to Europe. This seems to me to be the most direct route for trade to get to Europe. And it just so happens that it just passes, 50 miles or so. I think it would be north at that point of Babylon. In other words, the trade of the world could be routed close to Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And we got a map we're going to show, but here's a brand new article today, July 15th, 2026. That's today. The Cradle. U.S. Iraq finalize major energy deal during Zahadi's first Washington visit. I guess that's how you say this guy's name. Zaidi. U.S. Iraq finalized major energy deal. President Trump had him there in the Oval Office and then invited him to stay for lunch. Iraq energy deal to link Basra oil fields, listen now, with Turkey, Syria ports. I read that this morning and I said, now I think I understand what's going on. Now we understand why he's being so friendly with the the leader of Turkey and the leader of Syria. There may be more than one reason, but this is certainly one, particularly when it seems as though they're trying to find ways to maybe, if they have to, go around the Strait of Hormuz, right?
It appears. I still think that the strait is going to be cleared at some point. And the reason I say that, Trump is still bombing in Iran at this point. So he hasn't given up on that quest. And this is all the talk you see at this point is all about the strait. They don't even mention the citizens of the country or the uranium that's fallen away completely. It's all about the strait at this point. I think eventually it'll be cleared. However, in the meantime, it's forcing other alternative routes to be considered at least. And we see several routes. And it's also interesting if somehow miraculously Iran decides to be reintegrated into the global economic system, the most direct route straight up to Iran through the Caspian Sea is straight into the heart of Russia. That's an incredible trade route. They've been wanting to do that since 1979. But they've been prevented because of the sanctions. They couldn't do it. But if somehow they get into the world system, that would be a logical sources of wealth as well.
Let's talk about how President Trump is also maybe using some of this to disrupt the BRICS banking system, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and others. But look at this. An agreement is slated to be signed on Friday between Iraq, U.S. companies Chevron and TI Capital, and Qatar's UCC for construction of an oil pipeline that will connect southern Iraq's Basra to western Iraq's Haditha. Stay tuned.
Introducing Worldview Tube Vault. Over 35 years of radio broadcasts, television programs, documentaries, and ebooks. Plus, Worldviewpedia, our powerful search engine for instant worldview and Bible research. Join for as little as $7.99 a month. And now, Vault members get something brand new, courses. Our very first course is here, the Book of Revelation with Brannon House. 53 in-depth lessons, complete with overview quizzes, walking you verse by verse through one of the most important books in Scripture. Getting started is simple. Go to worldviewtube.com/vault and join today. Already a member? Visit worldviewtube.com, click the person icon in the top right, and log in. Then hover over Vault in the menu and select Courses. That's it. You're in. Join WorldviewTube Vault today at worldviewtube.com/vault.
All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us. Worldview Radio, our website, worldviewradio.com. We're going to go to the Bible here in a minute, Revelation 18. But yesterday, the new Prime Minister of Iraq. He had his first meeting, his first trip to Washington, D.C. A big deal is being signed on Friday that involves, looks like Iraq, Turkey, Qatar, and lots of energy and pipelines. Just one of many things going on that is, I think, going to build the Middle East like we've never seen before. Here is audio and video of the Prime Minister of Iraq in the Oval Office yesterday with President Trump.
So I just want to say it's a great honor to have the Prime Minister of Iraq with us. He's been a great fighter and he's been a great fan of America. We'll be discussing that a little bit with you, but they have tremendous oil reserves. They have tremendous potential wealth, and they have tremendous wealth, not only potential. But he's done in a short period of time, he's changed that country so much, especially toward their thinking about the United States. And we have partnerships. Chris was just saying we have tremendous oil partnerships all of a sudden being formed over the last short period of time. And I guess you're going to be announcing them this week or next week, but massive, among the largest. So they have done a fantastic job over the last very short period of time, but they have a great leader, the new Prime Minister. He's a great leader. I think he's going to be there for a long period of time, and it's great to have you at the White House. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And he's a young man. He's young and he's handsome, which I don't like. I'm not happy about it.
All right. So I'll tell you something. I'm thankful for President Trump, although I'm not happy with him in all areas. But hey, we told you there's going to be some things we like, some things we don't like when he got elected a second time. But there are a lot of things I do like. And even some of the things I may not like, I like. You're like, what? Because, yeah, I just put on my Bible prophecy hat and I'm thinking I like what I'm seeing because he is helping to build the chessboard, the monopoly board of the New World Order and of the revived Babylon. He's helping to do that. And I like to see that, frankly, because it means we know where we're at. And I think that means we're soon to get out of here. And who isn't homesick, right? Let's go. So I'm happy to see this. The same way I'm watching for what's going on in Israel with the third temple. I don't need a temple. They don't need sacrifices for that purpose of salvation. If they want to do it for commemoration, like we do the Lord's Supper, which that seems to be the way it'll be during the fourth temple of the millennium, that's one thing. But when I watch the third temple, the one that will be desecrated halfway through the tribulation by Antichrist, I don't watch the plans for that to be built because I'm in favor of any of that. It's because he gives me a marker as to where we are on the highway toward going home and the coming of the kingdom that we're to pray for, that millennial kingdom. So when I see this, I say, wonderful. God protect Donald Trump through his term for many reasons, but one of them is so we can keep these kind of things going because I think it is setting the stage for Bible prophecy to be fulfilled. And we know it has to be fulfilled. And it also, again, gives us hope as Christians to know God's in control. His word shows its supernatural nature through predictive prophecy that seems to be stage setting now. That's the first of many clips. What do you make of this? Young guy, good looking guy. He says, I don't care about that part. You know, he doesn't want to, he's kind of jealous of the younger good looking guys. You kind of see that yourself sometimes. You look back at old photographs. You're like, man, I was young. And so I think he kind of does that. He looks at these younger, good looking guys and he's thinking I'm 80 years old and oh boy. You know, I have a friend of mine that's 93. You know what he says to me? I have plenty of money. He says, what I don't have plenty of is time. So maybe President Trump feels that fleeting as well. But what do you make of these comments in the Oval Office and then the impromptu lunch?
Well, the building blocks are being moved around. It may be a little foggy to us at this point, but there's no doubt that we come back to this time and time again. Stuff is happening in the Middle East right now, and where it will all settle out, who knows? But at this point, you can see that the alliances between nation states is being fractured. We saw India, for instance, the head of the IMEC corridor being split away, or at least degraded from the China's Belt and Road initiative, and also from the BRICS nations as well. We see all of a sudden Turkey's entering the picture. They've said for a long time they want to be in the mix. but we haven't included them. So all of a sudden, we're selling them jets, the latest fighter technology, and yes, Syria as well is in the mix. This isn't by accident, I do not think. So we have to keep our eyes on Babylon and that area. I think especially this is where the heart of the story will be in the end, I think.
And for those of us old enough, to remember, obviously, Gulf War I with George H., II with George W. I mean, how far we have come that we have Saddam Hussein as the leader of Iraq. We're bombing them. We're sending troops in there. And now here we are, 2026, and we have the prime minister of Iraq in the Oval Office talking about how much he likes America, wants to work with America. And you have American companies going in there, but working also with Syria and Turkey and Qatar, the Middle East coming together for this. The White House put out a video yesterday. Let me play a little
I just want to say it's a great honor to have the Prime Minister of Iraq with us. He's been a great fighter and he's been a great fan of America. All regions, I believe, are coming together. And I think this is going to be one of the great leaders right here. It's going to be one of the great leaders in the Middle East. Our relationship with Iraq is, I would say, it went from being not so good to being outstanding. We're going to have a long-term relationship with Iraq. We're going to have a long-term relationship with a man that will be a great leader. His influence is going to spread all throughout the Middle East, and we're very happy about it. And we're very happy to have you with us. Thank you very much.
Wow. Isn't that something? I mean, again, think about that in the context of those of us that sat and watched at that time what would have been CNN and Gulf War I with George H. And you're sitting there looking at Revelation 18 and a commercial Babylon. You're thinking, well, we must be 100 years away from the Lord's return and the stage setting for Bible prophecy, much less the fulfillment. And yet, look how quick things can change. Here we are.
Exactly. Yeah. I'd like to know what his policies are that Trump is talking about there that are going to spread to the Middle East. Maybe Jared Kushner preceded Trump to kind of infect the leader of Iraq with like Abraham Accord policies to integrate all of the economics of the region under one umbrella. You have to wonder.
Let's go to a map. Let's go to a map that you sent over. Tell me about this map, would you please, Patrick?
Well, these are the alternative trade routes that you have in the Middle East right now. We see the one that we talked about extensively was the IMEC corridor. That was starting in March or so of this year. You see that this is number one at the bottom, and it depends on the Strait of Hormuz to be cleared. And maybe it will be, maybe not, but I think this is probably the top contender at this point. It goes through then through Saudi Arabia, then to the port of Haifa to load onto ships, and then onto Europe. But there's other alternative routes now. We discussed the number 2 route. That's the Saudi-Turkish reroute. This was just proposed this year, and this may be the one that Trump is really working on right now. So then we have the number 4.
Well, wait. Let's go to number 3 real quick, because number 3 is the one I was talking about with you this morning.
Yes.
That's the one I was talking about this morning that we briefly mentioned in an interview together a week or two ago. INSTC, which is India, Iran, and Russia. Right.
I call that instinct. That's just what that comes out of my mouth. I don't know anybody else calls it that, but it's too long to spell out. This would be a huge development because it would give Iran the ability to run traffic straight north and south on their country, on their own roads, on railroads, basically connecting them to Russia, Moscow especially. And so this has been a dream they've had forever, and they've been prevented from doing it. So, but if Iran refuses to be reintegrated into the modern world, that'll never happen.
And then we have 4, which is what we were talking about, the Al-Fa port and development. And you've got obviously is in Iraq. You've got Qatar helping to fund, the UAE is helping to fund some of that. Turkey is involved in some of that. And then you have the Middle East corridor, Trans-Caspian. And then you have the Suez Maritime Baseline. The point is we have so much going on in the Middle East. You know, for now, several months, we've been telling our audience, we believe that the world's focus and wealth is all going to the Middle East. Now, a few years ago, we would have had a hard time making that case. Not today, right? Not today.
That's right. That's right. It's interesting that Mumbai is the first, the head of the snake, if you will, of all of this stuff.
In India.
All this traffic is going to be in India, starting in India. They seem to be the source of the wealth at this point, and I haven't figured that out exactly. But at this point, Mumbai doesn't really care who going to traffic their goods. It doesn't matter to them, I think, whether it goes through Route 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or 5. It doesn't matter. They're going to be the winners. And of course, India is an incredibly wealthy country, and has has a lot to offer for world trade, and it has a huge population, huge intellectual population as well. So who knows at this point how the role that India will play in this corridor.
Let's go to another article I was going to pull up here because it has to do again with these deals being cut. Let's see here. Where did it go? Here we go. IRGC vows not a drop of oil and gas will be exported from region amid sustained cross-Gulf fighting. What's very interesting is that this war with Iran is actually, I think, helping to bring these Gulf nations to the table and with the United States for protection, but also profits. Protection and profits.
Mm-hmm.
You agree?
I think you're right. You know, Trump has been in bed with the leaders of the UAE for some time now, and they've invested in his cryptocurrency platform, World Liberty Financial. He's been very tight with them, and one of the outcomes of the war with Iran is to close the port. And if you consider what happened then, that the UAE has a port called Faraja, and it's trafficking huge amounts of oil through pipelines and by ship as well. It sits outside the strait.
Well, we have another article I want to talk about when I come back, and that is from the Times of Israel. In bid to expand port trade, Hoffa finds an unlikely partner, Iraq. And what's the date of that? July 11th, 2012. So it's older, but you see that this is now actually becoming more and more of a network. We'll get to that. Don't go away.
News is moving faster than ever, and so are we. Worldview Tube brings you 24/7 live stream coverage and now real-time alerts when it matters most. Once you have the Worldview Tube app installed, exit the app and navigate your way to Settings. In Settings, locate the tab labeled Notifications. Select the Notifications tab. Scroll down until you locate the Worldview Tube app icon. Select the tab, and here you can turn on and customize your notification experience for the Worldview Tube app. News doesn't wait, and neither should you. Turn on push notifications to stay informed. Every headline as it happens.
You're watching Worldview Tube, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon Howse.
All right, let's go. If you have a Bible, go with me, if you would, to Revelation chapter 18. Revelation chapter 18. This is where we have the world mourning the fall of Babylon, the merchants of the world. And the kings of the earth, verse 9, who committed fornication, spiritual fornication, lived luxuriously with her. Luxuriously. There's going to be a lot of wealth there, folks. And they will weep and lament for her when they see the smoke of her burning, standing at a distance for fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, the great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour judgment has come. Now look at verse 11. And the merchants of the earth will weep and mourn over her, for no one buys their merchandise anymore. What are they buying, folks? Verse 12 tells us, merchandise of gold and silver, precious stones and pearls, fine linen and purple, silk and scarlet, every kind of citron wood, every kind of object of ivory, every kind of object of most precious wood, bronze, iron, and marble, and cinnamon and incense, fragrant oil and frankincense, wine and oil, fine flour and wheat, cattle and sheep, horses and chariots, and bodies and souls of men. I want to stop right there. You look at the wealth. Now, if you understand what's going on during this tribulation period, most of the world is struggling, but the wealthy, that 1%, they're doing just fine, and they're buying a lot of very expensive goods tied back to Babylon. I want to mention that last one, though. They're buying horses and chariots and bodies and souls of men. What are they buying there? Slaves? We had Christians, which in the tribulation we'd call tribulation saints, since the church has been removed with the rapture. Or do we have tribulation saints that are being enslaved? They're trading in bodies and souls of men. Is it also sex slaves? Has Islam is Islam playing a major role here? And the many wives of many of the leaders of the Middle East? Is there massive debauchery? But also says they were committing fornication. Maybe there's more to that word than just spiritual. Patrick, what we do know, though, is this is going to be a commercial center of the world of immense wealth. And again, talking like this 5 years ago wouldn't have played much because we didn't really have a whole lot to say. But now we sure do with iMac, these other ports, and certainly Off-All port the last few years. And that was built very, very quickly as well, by the way.
It really was. And at this point, if the picture here in Revelation 18 is going to play out, there has to be a concentration of all these things at one time, not just splinters of it, not just dribbles and dabs, but a concentration of total opulence. And this hasn't happened in the world. You can look at for instance, look at England with all of its pomp and circumstance and all this fine linens and the crown jewels and that sort of thing. That's nothing compared to what we're going to see, I think, in Iraq eventually and Babylon. So, we watch this play out. I've said for years and years and years that there's going to be the rebuilding of the physical city, not America, not New York, not London, not Europe. This is a physical city that's pictured in Revelation 18. So all the people who have spent all this other time worrying about others' explanations, they missed the mark. They missed the whole thing, I think, at this point. I think we'll be proven right in the end. This wasn't just a mystical thing. It's a physical city. And physical city deals with physical goods. And this business of the buying and selling the souls of man, you can buy and sell bodies of men. That would be prostitution, maybe, or maybe it would just be slavery. But the souls of men, this is an interesting concept because the technocrats of today, they don't know exactly what the soul is. They can't describe it. They don't know when it leaves, when it comes, and that sort of thing. But somehow it seems in Revelation 18, they figured out a way to buy and sell the souls of man. This has always been a curiosity to me. What does this mean?
And I think I'm about to shock you. How much do you know about this new leader, Ali?
Not much.
Well, do you know he's described? Do you know that he has a banking background? He comes from
No.
banking. He comes from banking, and he's 41 years old. He is shifting their economy, as we're seeing, to being more about commerce and trade, energy, oil export. And he is described by some figures as a technocratic figure backed by key blocks. You didn't know that till right now, did you?
I didn't know.
And here you are. I'm thinking, while you were talking, I'm saying he has no idea how right he is, talking about the technocrats and the trading of souls. He has no clue yet how accurate he is, because some websites actually describe him as a technocratic figure backed by key blocks. Now, we're going to be doing more digging on this guy, without a doubt. But this is a very interesting thing. I guess he's been working with, Tom Barrack, special envoy. He's involved in quite a few things related to helping bring about a better economy for Iraq. There is a Reuters article that says Iraq's prime minister seeks big, it keeps getting built out because I don't have a password, big energy investments on U.S. trip. So he's here wanting money from us to get involved. We were bombing them a few years ago into oblivion, arresting their leader and hanging him. And now their new leader, 41-year-old guy with an economic banker background, described by some as a technocratic figure, is here seeking investments, going to sign a deal Friday. And we also now have reports from 8 hours ago. President Trump announces full U.S. troop withdrawal from Iraq by September of this year.
Wow. Doesn't this remind you a little bit of what happened in Japan when we bombed them into oblivion? And just a few years later, we took over their reconstruction. And now look at the relationship we've had with Japan all these years, and we built them into a major country. It doesn't surprise me that alliances change, their views change. Vietnam is another example. Probably there's the worst country on earth at one point of all the American soldiers that died there, but nevertheless. Vietnam has been a huge exporter of goods to us and around the world at this point. They're a major economic power in Asia at this point. So, stuff changes over time. This is why I say that you can't rule Iran out at this point. I know it looks hopeless right now, but here's a bunch of people, 90 million people who with huge resources, physical resources at their disposal. If they ever get the idea to come into the world at this point, be reintegrated into the world, there'll be a huge powerhouse in the Middle East and even in the world.
I'm trying to read more on this guy as fast as we can. Let's see. His profile has him out to be what made him successful is consensus. He's got quite a bit of education. He holds a bachelor's degree in law and finance, a master's in finance and banking. And his expertise centers on financial systems, banking regulation, business operations, rather than traditional political background.
There you go.
He has no known militia networks that he's common with in the Iraqi politics. So here we have a commercial Babylon rising with a young 41-year-old banker and businessman, a guy who actually has been involved in business and finance and banking as a lawyer. Now, if someone had told you when we were bombing the living daylights out of Iraq, hey, give it a few years, they'll have this nice young 41-year-old who is a lawyer, banking degree, businessman, a master's in finance, and he won't even need to have any connection to the military. He'll basically be an entrepreneur coming to America, cutting deals with us. We would say, what planet are you living on? They hate our guts over there. They'll never be involved with us.
Exactly. Yeah. Things change. And at this point, Trump has figured out how to spring the art of the deal on all these countries. And this was certainly preceded by Jared Kushner forming or creating the Abraham Accords in the first place in this first Trump administration. And at this point, it's paying off. Every country that they're going to is succumbing to the appeal of trade.
Now, we're going to be handing over our military bases to Iraq, mostly at Har, Harir Air Base in the Kurdistan region. We'll be out of there by September, handing that over to them. Our embassy, if you guys all remember our embassy, how huge it is, shopping malls, restaurants, movie theaters, huge in the green zone. That is going to remain because that's not an air base. That's a diplomatic, that's a diplomatic. I would say that's probably going to increase in size and people because our relationship is going to go away militarily. We're moving our troops out. We're going to be moving our diplomats in more.
I had the thought when that green zone was constructed in the first place. I had no basis for it, but I thought to myself, why are they building this huge embassy? Right there, it made no sense at all. But you wonder, maybe the devil had a plan to set a trap for America down the road by having this embassy, this huge embassy, so close to historic Babylon.
Well, and there were those when the whole Iraq war thing was going on. There were those who were saying that, we have used the CIA, we've used, as we have most of these people from, Saddam Hussein to probably bin Laden to, the leader of Libya, Muammar Gaddafi. Some were saying, well, Saddam Hussein's not cooperating with us and doing what we want and not listening to us anymore. And of course, I think we were obviously involved in the war between Iraq and Iran for so long. But he became a guy they couldn't really work with. They needed to move somebody out, move him out, put somebody in that would make it stable for the New World Order. I remember us talking like that years ago. That I think what they're doing is trying to move out this guy, bring in a guy that will go along with the New World Order. Their idea of a revived Roman Empire, world government, revitalized Babylon. And we were saying that. We think that's what George H. Bush, the New World Order where nations will work together and not against each other. I mean, we should bring up that clip. Can you guys bring up the George H. clip from the Oval Office? He also said it before Congress, but in the Oval Office, he talked about the New World Order and what that meant. And it was all around George H. and going into Iraq. And now look, we have a 41-year-old leader with no military background, finance and law, who wants to go into business and work with all these countries. Voila.
Take a look at the water you just poured. It looks clean. It tastes fine. But what's really in it? Lead, fluoride, arsenic, chlorine, pesticides, PFAS forever chemicals, pharmaceutical residues, and bacteria. Every single day, these toxins flow straight from your tap into your glass, into your family. It's time for Sentry H2O from Worldview Water. Sentry H2O is the ultimate water treatment technology, designed to remove harmful toxins, balance your water's pH, and enrich it with essential minerals like calcium and magnesium, the way nature intended. From commercial-scale systems to whole-house filtration to crisp, delicious drinking water right at your kitchen sink and shower, Sentry H2O delivers cleaner, healthier water everywhere you need it. No plumber, no tools, no plumbing knowledge required. perfect for homes, apartments,
Acrobat AI
rentals,
Assistant helps
RVs,
me
refrigerators,
build
and
trust with
more.
clients.
Because everyone
With
deserves
AI
access to
Assistant, I can
clean,
find
healthy
contract
water.
details
Visit
quickly. Having
worldviewwater.net.
all of this
That's
together helps position myself as an
worldviewwater.net.
expert, and it gives me that confidence.
All right, be sure to stay tuned for Crosstalk with your host, Jim Schneider, coming up at the top of the hour, 2 p.m. Central, 3 o'clock Eastern Standard at vcy.org, vcy.org. Maybe we're now understanding more and more why President Trump has become so Islamic Muslim friendly. He really has. You can see now why. This is cutting deals, that's for sure. And they're coming to the forefront. Now, let's go back real quick before I have Patrick comment on that. Let's go back to the Oval Office with George H. Bush. This was on January 16th, 1991. How many of you watched it live that night? I sure did. And then there came that phrase. He said it in the Oval Office, this speech. He said it before Congress. But listen to this, my friends. Here we go.
I'm hopeful that this fighting will not go on for long, and that casualties will be held to an absolute minimum. This is an historic moment. We have in this past year made great progress in ending the long era of conflict and Cold War. We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders. We have no argument with the people of Iraq. Indeed, for the innocents.
All right, so there we go. Now, what George H. wasn't counting on was the UN being shoved aside and something known as the Peace Board led by Donald Trump. Can you imagine if you had said to the president that night, Mr. President, in 2026, Donald Trump will be in his second term and he will have established the Peace Board, basically neutering the UN. Can you imagine the way he would look at you? I mean, remember all those guys were saying in 2015, he wouldn't be president. He wouldn't be president. I got clips of Lindsey Graham talking about what a misogynist, racist, bigot, cuckoo Donald Trump was. I've got the clips. I played them last night for myself. I can play them today. I mean, I'm not saying that to criticize Graham, the man that passed away. I'm saying it to show you people that said horrible things about each other are now working together. Remember, Trump called Marco like little Marco, right? All things he said about him. But if you had said this to George H., he would never believed you, because all these guys in 2015 were saying there's no way Trump will become president. I mean, look at how far we've come from a UN is going to do this, says President George H. Bush in 1991 of January, to now we have a peace board with the chairman being Donald Trump that has more power than the UN.
Wow, that's amazing. You know, the Trilateral Commission in the first place, they said that they wanted to create a new international economic order. I think this is what we're seeing today being erected right before our eyes. And George H.W. Bush, you might remember, he was a member of the Trilateral Commission, one of the founding members of that group. Great friends with David Rockefeller and Henry Kissinger and all those people. And he was he was making the early statement, I think, to alert the American people there was a new world order coming, the economic order, not a political order, but an economic order. He said that repeatedly, economic order. And we see this today. Now, there are members of the Trilateral Commission still all over the place and the global scene. Trump is not a member. Vance is not a member either. But we see other people who are associated with the global elites, maybe sitting in the background. People like Peter Thiel and Alex Karp, who serve on the steering committee of the Bilderberg Group currently. This is morphed and remorphed into what we have today. And it's so exciting, especially from the point of Bible prophecy. Just absolutely blows my mind. We talked about globalization in the 70s, 80s, 90s, kind of in theoretical terms. There wasn't much to look at that point. We saw it was going to come, but you couldn't really quantify it for people to get their head wrapped around it. But today, it's in your face. It's all over the place. The world is being reformed, reshaped, whatever you want to call it, today. And all the building blocks are being moved. They're all separated at this point, and they're being moved. The major building blocks of the world, nations of the world, are being moved around as well. The alliances are being moved around as well. And where will this all end? It seems a little bit like a 52-card pickup. But I'll tell you what, the devil has a plan. We need to wait for it, right?
Mm-hmm. And the Lord God is in control. He's letting some slack out there on that leash of Satan that he's on to do these things that will ultimately bring to pass what God has absolutely planned, which is what we learned when we studied together Revelation, the book of Revelation, and now the book of Daniel. Before we go, again, Iraq energy deal to link Basra with Syria and Turkey. Ports with Syria and Turkey. Now we're learning why President Trump's being so friendly with Erdogan and the leader of Syria, and now he has the Iraq brand new 41-year-old seen as a technocratic figure from Iraq, the prime minister, 41, in the Oval yesterday, and then says, we're getting along so well, I think we'll have a spontaneous lunch. It is fascinating to watch, and how fast it's moving. How fast it's moving, Patrick.
You're right. Every day has a new announcement somewhere in the world, and mostly in the Middle East as well. What you just read me about this Ali guy, you just figure, who would have thought that this would be the case at this point? And you can see all the economic forces, especially coming together, business people and traders.
Yep. Well, let me say, folks, this is why this program is unique and specifically built each and every day to help you understand what most people don't seem to even want to understand. Many of them can't understand because they don't know the Bible. So this is a very unique program. And we're going to get this up online right away. We'll transcribe it. We'll turn it into articles. And guess what? It will also, the transcription and all this will go into our very powerful Biblical Worldview software. Another example of our Bible software, when it's finally launched, you'll be able to search things and find answers so fast. All right. His website is technocracy.news. Take care. And we're back with Patrick Wood on the stations that carry us after VCY goes off to get ready for crosstalk. I want to talk real quick with you about flock cameras, because we are reading more and more reports of people that are using their trucks to run over the flock cameras. We talked the other night about a guy that got arrested, taking some down. He's getting support. People are raising money for him. And then after that, I keep seeing articles where people are using their trucks to run over and run down flock cameras. Now, I'm not encouraging anyone to do that or break the law or be involved in vandalism, but it tells me that more and more Americans are waking up to the surveillance state and they're pushing back. Are you shocked that this is making the news, that people are doing this? And what do you see coming?
There's going to be a mass uprise, I think, at some point. And the flock experience is just it's got the attention of the leadership of the company. Let's put it this way, and it's all over the country at this point. There's massive numbers of people that are rising up, and they're getting kicked out of cities and counties around the country as well. But the leader of that company, the CEO of Flock, went on TV or in a podcast, whatever, I think it was on TV, and he said basically this group called dflock.org that has a map of all the cameras in the country. That's all they do. They map the locations with geo coordinates, so you can go and look at them and see where they are in your neighborhood, for instance. He called them terrorists, not just run-of-the-mill terrorists, but the type of Antifa terrorists that want to spread chaos in the country. Really? If this is his attitude, you can see the pushback is going to involve him personally at this point, because he's going to mount a counterattack to brand all these people who are harming the cameras as terrorists. This is totally off the wall, but it's just, this is it. This is it. The line is being drawn.
Well, you have an article over at technocracy.news. Flock builds the digital police state while Americans attend the political circus. That's interesting that was used, because I said that the other day about the race car. We had a video of the race car coming in onto the grounds of the White House, and they were changing the tires and showing it. It was cool to see. It was pretty. The car is beautiful, and the team looked great and proficient, and it was fun to watch. But I said to the audience, I said, this is bread and circus, whether it's the beat down on the White House lawn of the fighters, or running a race car through the parking lot of the White House. This is all bread and circuses and distraction. The dollar now only has 3% of its purchasing power since 1913, a whopping 3%. They are building a global, and of course here in America, national grid, a digital police state to track us. They're building an economic digital gulag that it can turn on and turn off. And most Americans, again, if they are even interested, they don't fully understand the ramifications and the biblical setup for this, for Bible prophecy. But most Americans are oblivious to this. They don't care. They're not interested, many of them. Even when you tell them about it, they're not interested. They don't want to know. They just want to, basically, I guess a lot of them just want to smoke their dope and get high and go into the latest drugstore. I mean, literally drugstore. They're all over Arkansas and Missouri, and get their pot and smoke their doobies and the wacky weed or whatever you want to call it. And the rest of them, they're on prescription drugs. And I mean, it's a nation of people that are zoned out.
Yeah. It's really sad. That's it. You know, I can understand the tendency to want to hibernate and run away. You know, I have those thoughts, the daydreams, honestly, but there's so many people in the world who just want to escape into another reality. They don't like this one. They're going to escape to another reality. It'll be the death of them in the end. But you can see why would anybody want to stay under this type of a situation when they perceive they can't do anything about it? The surveillance is coming all over the place for them, and okay, they're just going to check out of life.
Well, we're going to do more on Ali, the leader of Iraq. You know what's really interesting, guys? Look at this. Logan, is that not Wikipedia apparently already has a picture of him up, and I'm pretty sure that picture came from the Oval Office, didn't it?
Looks like it.
It looks like the Oval Office. Yes, it is. White House, Oval Office. So Wikipedia has already updated his Wikipedia page and taken the picture from the Oval. Again, a guy born in 1985 in Baghdad. The prominent Shia Muslim family, hails from southern Iraq government, has his bachelor's degree in law and finance, master's in finance and banking. I mean, so much. We're going to be covering this gentleman. That's absolutely for sure. Look at that. He also heads the board of directors at Al-Shaab University and the Ishtar Medical Institute, and is the CEO and owner of Dijala TV. Hey, he's in broadcasting like we are, Logan. He's the CEO and owner of a TV broadcasting company. He owns the Taiwan hypermarket chain in Baghdad. What is that? What is that? What is that? Is that a drugstore, a grocery stores? What is that?
No.
I don't know what that is, but he owns a chain. Dude's an entrepreneur. He also is the owner of Al Awaz Group, a conglomerate that includes 15 companies operating in different industries such as food trade, agriculture, and livestock production, contracting, printing, security services, electronics, and oil. It has contracts with the Iraqi Ministry of Trade, Until his resignation in 2019, he serves as chairman of the board of directors for the Al Janoub Islamic Bank. Isn't this something? Someone's already asked, Logan just told my ear, someone's already asked you on email, could this guy be the Antichrist? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know. It says he comes out of the sea, but can I tell you something really interesting? Are you ready for this? Sea, to some Bible scholars, has meant Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Get a map out. Look at where the Mediterranean Sea is, people.
Yeah.
Some others say sea and waters usually means Gentile nations, the human masses. I think the Antichrist probably be a Gentile. But what if he turns out he's from the sea and that's the Mediterranean region? I don't know. But this guy is
interesting.
Very fascinating.
It appears to me he's a mini-me for Trump.
He's Trump's mini-me. He's Trump's Islamic Middle East mini-me. That's pretty good,
kidding.
Patrick. Oh, man. Wow. We're going to have so much fun talking about this guy, researching him. Let's get him on the web. Let's get him on the show, Logan.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm reading that he was, they labeled him a technocrat.
Yep.
He was branded a technocrat to break a political deadlock and to reassure the U.S. I don't know why branding him a technocrat would reassure the U.S.
That's an interesting concept there for sure. Did you see that Hamas recently conceded to be ruled by this technocratic committee that Jared Kushner announced at the World Economic Forum for the Board of Peace? And this has never happened. They're not saying they're going to lay down their arms, but they're saying, well, we'll back off for the government portion of Gaza and let this technocratic committee take over. That was huge.
A bank he formerly led faced U.S. sanctions in 2024 over alleged money laundering benefiting Iran and Iran-backed militias.
Well, we need to really do a deep dive on this guy.
Well, when it says that the Antichrist comes out of the sea, as I said, some Bible scholars have thought the Mediterranean, which is, I don't know, what is that, 500-600 miles away? I have to look that one up. Look that up. How far is the Mediterranean from Iraq? It's got to be 500, 600 miles. But what if sea means he comes out of the Persian Gulf, the Gulf, the Gulf of the Sea?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm just asking questions only because a listener has asked, could this dude be the Antichrist? And I'm trying to look at what the Bible says about him coming up out of the sea, the Antichrist.
350 to 400.
350 to 400 miles is the Mediterranean to Iraq?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But of course, we know that Iraq is right there on the Gulf, Persian Gulf, right? Near the north end, I think, of the Persian Gulf.
Exactly. Yeah, the very tippy top.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And Logan, are we pressed for time?
Not really. Minus isn't running.
Can you look real quick and tell me if he has been involved in the Al-Fa port? What has been his involvement with the Al-Fa port?
Well, he has to be involved.
Yeah. But I'm wondering if before he was prime minister, how involved was he in that project? Was he a mover and shaker in that project?
Yep. That would be a question to answer for sure.
I'm looking.
Because what if, and again, I'm just spitballing here, but what if he comes up out of the sea is also a reference to he came up out of prominence from working on a sea project, ports.
I mean, he came out of the underground tunnel.
Yeah.
From the sea.
he came to prominence working on a seaport. You got anything on that, Logan?
It's still looking. 1 second.
Yeah, we got a lot of digging to do. Let's send an official request for an interview, a friendly interview. Say we find him fascinating. He's an entrepreneur. We'll just set aside the Muslim aspect for right now. He's an entrepreneur and a businessman and a lawyer, and we find him fascinating. Want to know a little more about him. Would he commit to an interview? We'd like to hear about his vision for Iraq. Why would he say no, particularly if he's wanting to attract more business people from America? Why would he say no to that opportunity?
You would think he might be sensitive to Bible prophecy, even talking to people like us, possibly.
Mean afraid of us?
No, because of Babylon.
Oh, you mean he may be willing to talk about it?
Well, I would think he might.
I would mean because I'd love to ask him, hey, I'm a Christian. I know you come from a Muslim background, but as a Christian, we study the Bible. Revelation 17:18 says your country's going to rise, Babylon, and be the center of world commerce. Do you have anything to say about that?
That's right. That's
Here's
exactly
what he would
right.
say. What he would say is, you're telling me your Bible says that my country will have be the center of the world commerce for the richest goods in the world? Yes, sir. I say, amen, bring it on. What else would he say? What else would he say to that, right? Oh, but there's a little caveat. It'll also be the dwelling place of demons that will, and it'll be trading bodies.
Well, every Iraqi understands that Babylon is there. Everybody gets that
But
picture.
do they know about Revelation 17 and 18?
No, they don't have to know. They don't have to. But this has been an artifact of antiquity.
That's
for
right.
them.
That's right.
It's a huge deal.
Archaeological finds going back to the 30s and everything.
I know. So they all have an understanding of what it is in the first place. And you might remember when the last the shock and awe campaign to conquer Iraq. There was an incident where the Marine Corps went to Babylon, and there was some concrete or some type of a setting there where there was stones on the tarmac that they created, and they damaged some of that infrastructure. And they ended up apologizing to Iraq for having harmed that infrastructure. And I thought to myself at the time, we just bought the farm when we harmed their infrastructure in Babylon, committing us to be part of the rebuilding process, the reconstruction process. I still have that in my mind. Even to this day, but that was huge when the Marine Corps came in. That whatever they're thinking, that was stupid to go in there, especially there. But they did a lot of damage, and Iraq was just incensed that they did that.
Yeah, I bet they were. Logan, did you find anything about him being involved business-wise before Prime Minister?
Yeah, it says, based on available reporting, he appears to have had no documented personal role, contract, or investment in the port project prior to taking office.
Okay, prior to taking office. When did he take office?
Let's see.
I can look that up too. Let's see here.
This year.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, we got a lot of digging to do because I think we're going to find some very interesting things about this guy. There's a little bit of controversy with alleged money laundering on behalf of Iran, Iranian-backed Iraqi Shia militias, blah, 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 and the illicit use of U.S. currency. We're going to keep digging on him. Wow, what a fascinating program. Technocracy.news, technocracy.news. Thank you so much, Patrick.
My pleasure.
Patrick Wood checking in, and we've gone a little over. Hope you appreciate what we're doing. We need your support. Summer months, things go a little down in the giving department, so please support us. Would you go there now while you're thinking about it? Worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. Thank you for doing that. All right, till next time, which is about 7:30 Central to 9, unless there's breaking news. I'm Brandon House. Thanks for watching. Take care.
True beauty isn't applied. It's nourished from within.